It's just YouTube. What's going on? We're back with another brilliant episode of UK Prison Stories. What would you do if your house was invaded by a robber, burglar? What would you do? How would you defend it? Do you think you can go too far? Do you think it's possible to go too far in that situation if you was the victim? Even if you've been away for burglary, even if you've been nicked for stealing, what would you do if someone invaded your home? We're about to find out. This young man caught a burglar in his house and defended it. And this is UK Prison Stories, so guess where he is? He's in prison. Do you think that's right? Do you think that's wrong? Do you think a man has a right to protect his castle, his home, the place where his family live, the place where his kids play, the place where his wife sleeps? Do you think he has that right to defend himself? And if you do you think there's limits to how far you can go? Let's have a listen.
Here for?
David is serving an 8.5-year sentence for manslaughter after stabbing an intruder in his home.
I'm here because of a burglar. I was lying in my bed and basically didn't drink that night, had a really nice quiet night, you know. I was tempted to go out, but then I was like, no, I'll just have an early night. And then next thing you know, my door got hit. Two masked men, one had a knife. You know,
You were in bed at the time?
Yeah. So the door hit. I go downstairs to answer it, and as soon as I open the door, there was a knife in my face, like, you're dealing in the area, you need to give us money, and basically drugs. And I never had any money, but I did have 2 grams of grass, you know, 20 pounds worth that I smoked myself. I was like, yeah, take what's in the cupboard. And whenever I was standing there, like, okay, they're gonna take what they want and like leave me alone, that's whenever he tried to stab me. And it just went into a complete...
Unprovoked?
I never did anything at that stage. I was willing to give them what
But why
they
would
wanted.
this guy want to stab you?
Maybe because they were unhappy with what I had. It's crazy because, see...
Really, David, though? Really?
Yeah, really. Basically, that's exactly what happened.
So in those moments where he's at the cupboard, you say your back's at the wall, Are you thinking whether to attack him or not?
No, I had no intention to attack him because I was so petrified, you know, and then...
He don't look like a very dangerous guy, does he? He doesn't look like he goes out and causes trouble, doesn't look like a drug dealer even. You can imagine the geezers that have kicked off the door have been given the wrong information. They're really angry about the fact he's only got 20 quid's worth of weed in there, grass in there, whatever they call it in Ireland, and they've gone for him. And he's defended himself, but even if that didn't happen and he just defended his home, does he still justify him going away?
And then whenever he tried to stab me and I got that weapon, then I went into complete attack mode.
You're claiming that you tried to protect yourself?
Yeah, basically. And whenever they explained to me what I did in the interview room, I was shocked, you know.
What did they say?
It says he was stabbed 6 times, which was, for me, horrible. You know, I was crying my eyes out whenever I heard it, because I never thought I could do something so barbaric. But it's amazing what you can do when you're in a life and death situation. You know, you might change into someone else for that short time.
Where did you stab him?
He was stabbed in the liver and heart, which were 2 fatal wounds. So either one of them would have killed him outright.
So you grabbed the actual knife, and are you trying to stop it coming into your body, or are you trying to...
I'm pretty sure what I did is I just turned it towards him.
The court did not fully accept David's version of events. The judge said that while David was subject to a frightening and unjustifiable assault, the men who came to David's door were unarmed, and that it was David who lifted the knife from his own kitchen.
Even if that was the case, even if he ran into his own kitchen and grabbed it, was he justified in doing that? Is a man entitled to defend his home? Are you entitled to feel safe in the place you live without expecting your door to be kicked off? Do I sound like a hypocrite here? Yes. But doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. If you're indoors and people come through your door, why are you not allowed to defend it? Who is to judge and say it's excessive? I bet he didn't get a pen out and draw across his heart and his lungs and his liver or whatever he said he hit. I bet he just did it out of blind panic.
What were you convicted of?
From day one, I admitted that I killed him. I phoned the police and says, listen, I've just killed a burglar. But what ended up happening is it got brought down to manslaughter because I never admitted to, which there was nothing to admit to, that I meant to kill him, which I didn't, you know. It was just in that situation, it was him or me.
What did the court find against you then, David?
So you have reasonable force, don't you, whenever someone comes into your house? I went beyond that. So what I did, because I saved myself, morally was kind of right, but by the law, it wasn't right. You know, because by the law, you can use so much force, but, you know, the guy did, like you says, I did kill him.
The judge also found that the men had been harassing David in the days leading up to the killing, and that David placed a hammer by the front door and went to bed that night wearing his coat and shoes. So there had been a lead up to this?
A lead up, yeah.
This wasn't a random burglary?
It was windows being smashed, my house being egged. It's just because I didn't know them that well. And then they were trying to like befriend me, but they weren't my sort of people, you know, and then obviously they didn't like that, so they started coming around and smashing my house.
What, was the knife never recovered?
The knife was recovered, so it was recovered in an alleyway in a bin. Yeah. Because when the other guy ran away, I'm assuming he got rid of it.
The judge determined it was David who disposed of the knife.
The judge sounds really fair, doesn't he? He sounds like a really nice and fair person who is not on the side of criminals in any way, shape or form. It's good of the judge to determine all this. I mean, even if you panicked and you chucked it away yourself, does it justify 8 years in prison for manslaughter? Does it? Does it still justify the fact that he went overboard in defending his house? Does it justify anything that he hid it in panic, if he did hide it in panic?
What's it feel like in your quieter moments? You're lying in this bed.
It's horrible. Yeah.
Why are your eyes tearing up?
Just, it is, like, it's an emotional
Why?
thing. Just because having the death in your hands, whatever scenario, even in war, whatever it is, if you've got a remorse, it's gonna haunt you. So it is, you know.
That haunts you?
Yeah, it does, definitely. Anyone could have been in my situation.
Here, listen, thank you very much.
Yes, it's nice meeting you, Stephen. You too.
It is David's view that anyone could find themselves in his situation, but it's how we react that matters. David's actions that night took a young man's life. His parents, his friends, his loved ones have to deal with that reality every single day for the rest of their lives.
But they also kicked off someone's door. That's the stone cold reality, isn't it? That's, you know, how far back do you want to go back with reality? You can have a starting point somewhere and just cut off the previous reality. The reality is two geezers kicked off his door. And he defended himself. Did he defend himself by going too far? Did he do what the judge said? Or does it even matter if he did what the judge said? 2 geezers kicked off his door. What would you do? What would I do? What would anyone do? It's easy to say you do the right thing and all that stuff, but until you're there, until you live in the moment, what would you do? If you enjoyed that, hit the subscribe and we'll chat again. Adios.